Today, everybody, I have the Bolivian mountain coconut. This is a fruit that is endemic to Bolivia, and it's actually very, very rare there. It's, in fact, I believe, endangered. It grows only in this one particular area, which I am no expert about this sort of thing, but it's called an Interandean Valley. Because of where it is on the slope of this valley, like rain can't get to it in the normal way that rain gets to land. So it's a very interesting sort of environment that I don't fully understand, but what I do understand is that it produces this. This, by the way, was sent to me by Wanderlust Nursery. So if you are interested in growing this, go to wanderlustnursery.com. You can actually use a promo code WeirdExplorer and get 10% off your order. So check that out if you grow plants. Wanderlust Nursery was kind enough to send me these with the husk on them, which I think as they get older, it's easier to remove the husk, but they sent me ones that are a little bit younger so I can show you what the fruit looks like. The problem with that is now I have to get the husk off of this thing to show you what the nut looks like, which is not an easy thing to do. So I stripped off all the husk, or at least as much as I could possibly get off without going crazy. It was a little bit difficult, honestly, but I think as they get more mature, it comes off easier. I asked for these to have the husk on so I could see what it looked like with the husk, and yeah, you gotta pay for that a little bit by having to get all that off. Despite how small it is, it actually has these 3 little holes right here, kind of like the indentations that you have on a regular sized coconut, which I think is really cute. And I think that's where this germinates out of. So when the seed germinates, little sprout would come out of one of these little holes here. So the husk of this is not normally eaten. You know, it's like a regular coconut. You wouldn't really want to eat the husk of regular coconut. But when else will I get the opportunity to eat the husk of an endangered coconut, guys? So I'm going to give it a try. Actually, that's not too terrible. It has a little bit of a sweetness to it. It's kind of grassy also. It's kind of like eating like a little piece of raw sugar cane, but not as sweet. And there's a little touch of coconut flavor in there too. That's pretty interesting. I need to get into this somehow. I could hit it with a hammer, but what I think would be more interesting is if I went at this with some hardware. There's only a really small hollow cavity in there. It's mostly that seed is filled with the kernel. And people do eat this, by the way. In the area that this grows, locals will pick this and eat the kernel on the inside. Okay. Alright, so I scraped out some of that kernel there. So the flavor of that is, it's like coconut. Like almost exactly like coconut. It's maybe a little bit different in the fattiness. It's maybe a little less fattening tasting. It's maybe a little bit more, well, a little milder. It's not quite as strong of a coconut taste. But yeah, very similar to coconut. I didn't think about it before, but this actually reminds me a lot of, I believe it was Coil, where I had it in Mexico. And there they take the fruits with the husk and they soak it in like a syrup solution, and you kind of like suck on that fruit. And the one that I had in Mexico also, by the time you got through the husk of it, you can crack it open and eat the inside, which I did, and now that I think of it, it tasted a lot like this. So I think this could possibly be used in a similar sort of way as that. But either way, interesting one. A very, very interesting one to try. It's maybe a little bit of trouble to get into that because you got to deal with the husk and the shell and all of that, and then you just have a little bit of kernel on the inside. But it's the sort of thing that if you want to grow it, it's supposed to be a very cool-looking tree that can grow really, really high. I've heard as high as like 60 feet tall. If you're growing it for the tree, you can also collect the nuts and process it. I think that's all I have to say about this. So again, if you're interested in growing this, go to Wanderlust Nursery. They have plants of this for sale there, and use my promo code to get a discount. Other than that, I'll see you next time. I would like to give a big shout out to Smarter Every Day, Bill T. and Joseph McCorkle. They are mega patrons over on patreon.com. To everyone watching who is interested in learning more about how you can support the channel and also get some really cool rewards in return, like early access to videos, exclusive videos, there's over 100 of those. There's even a level where I will send you things in the mail. You gotta check it out, so I will put some information in the description below.